West Palm Beach Police, West Palm Beach Fire, the West Palm Beach Emergency Management Team, as well as all healthcare professionals who are on the front line of the COVID-19 fight. Thank you for everything that you are doing to keep our community safe and healthy. All of you, each and every one of you, are the true heroes of our community. Now, we know that COVID-19 impacts have been very hard for so many people. Many of our residents have lost friends and loved ones as a result of this virus. Over 260 Palm Beach County residents have lost their lives. These people were mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, sons and daughters. My thoughts and prayers go out to the families and friends of each person who is no longer with us as a result of this pernicious virus. Also, we know that in the last 8 weeks, at least 37 million people across the country have lost their jobs. Too many residents of our city are now unemployed as a result of this despicable disease. The pain is real. The hardship is real. We've all heard the stories, have been personally impacted. It's agonizing, to say the least. As a leader of this city, I am working hard each and every day to help alleviate this pain being experienced by so many of our residents and businesses. But let me also thank the citizens of the great city of West Palm Beach for your cooperation over these past several weeks. Your compliance with the shelter-in-place guidelines have made a difference. Now, we've all been forced to make some very difficult decisions, but these decisions have saved lives. Now, this morning, I would like to update you on the steps that the city has taken to respond to this health crisis, to keep our economy running, and to care for our most vulnerable, including children, seniors, and the poor. Let me start with testing. Tomorrow, we will be hosting another pop-up mobile testing event from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Gaines Park. This pop-up testing event is for West Palm Beach residents who are unable to travel to existing testing locations. Appointments are required. Please dial 561-822-1425 to make an appointment. Again, that number is 561-822-1425. I want to give a special thanks to our private sector partners, Found Care, and Quantum Foundation for co-hosting this event. Next week, we will partner with the Healthcare District of Palm Beach County to offer pop-up testing in low-income and public housing neighborhoods. Now, several days in advance, we will go door to door to let residents in those neighborhoods know that they need to pre-register for this testing event. I'm proud to say that earlier this week, we provided testing to more than 50 homeless individuals and migrant workers, thanks to a partnership with Villanova. Working through the city's COVID-19 response unit, the Housing and Homeless Team, which has been led by Commissioner Corey Nearing, we've worked with Villanova and the Lord's Place to ensure that during this crisis, our homeless residents can access a hot shower, self-care essentials, and a prepared meal. We were able to connect with those residents and offer them COVID testing in addition to the other services, again, thanks to this partnership with Villanova and the Lord's Place, under the leadership of Commissioner Corey Nearing. To date, the city has tested approximately 450 residents through pop-up mobile testing, thanks to these very special partnerships with organizations in the private sector. They are more than organizations. They are great friends to the city. We owe them a tremendous amount of gratitude. Indeed, we anticipate that by the end of next week, the city will have tested close to 1,000 residents for COVID-19. I also want to thank Palm Beach County, especially County Mayor Dave Kerner and County Administrator Videnia Baker, for working with the city to develop a plan to conduct even more testing. You may recall that I was a little bit passionate in my plea for more testing kits, and I'm happy to say that the county and the city are working together. In just a few moments, Assistant Fire Chief Brent Bloomfield, who was the city's emergency manager, will provide an update on the assistance we're receiving from the county and the healthcare district with respect to the testing. Let's talk about reopening. I want to emphasize that the reopening is going to be a phased reopening. As you're aware, earlier this week we entered phase 1 recovery, which involves in part the reopening of in-store retail sales, in-restaurant dining, and museums and libraries, all at 25% capacity. These entities are required to follow applicable social distancing and safety guidelines. I also mandated the barbershops, cosmetology salons, and cosmetology specialty salons operating in the city of West Palm Beach adhere to enhanced safety guidelines, which include, but are not limited to, the provision of unworn masks to clients for use during their appointment and daily thorough cleansing and disinfection. Now, we've yet to reopen our library. It will remain closed for the time being. We are working on an operational plan, and we look forward to opening the library soon. Overall, our reopening has gone well. Most everyone, to our knowledge, has complied with all applicable rules and guidelines, and we look forward to receiving additional guidelines from the state and Palm Beach County when the time comes for us to enter phase 2. Please continue, however, to comply with all applicable safety guidelines and orders. I cannot emphasize enough that we are not out of the woods yet with respect to this pandemic. So we all must continue to work together in this fight. Economic and relief to our citizens. I want our residents and our business community to know that we, the city, are here for them, that we do have a plan, and here are a few things that we've been doing on that front. The city continues to work to help our most vulnerable residents. So far, we have approved 35 people to receive rental assistance to help cover up to 2 months of rent. Combined, we have provided $80,000 in rental assistance to West Palm Beach residents to ensure that they, their loved ones, and their families will continue to have a roof over their head. Additionally, we've helped 75 residents to date with reemployment application assistance and approximately 30 people with assistance with food stamp applications. In the last 5 weeks, in partnership with the Downtown Development Authority, the Urban League of Palm Beach County, and Valley National Bank, the city's Recovery and Assistance Program has approved 29 small businesses for $263,000 in short-term loans, ranging in amounts between $5,000 and $10,000. Now, this program provides financial assistance to assist small businesses with meeting basic obligations such as rent, payroll, and utilities. Now, let me emphasize that when we put together our budget for 2019, none of these items were included in that budget. So we have had to scurry and hustle as a staff and as an administration to find these monies. We wanted to be flexible. We had to be flexible because we knew that there was a dire need for our citizens and small businesses. And I'm proud of the work that we've done to date, and we understand that there's still work to be done. We are featuring close to 130 small businesses as part of our West Palm Eats and West Palm Shops campaigns, again, to promote small businesses in the city. We know that every business right now needs all the help that they can get. And this is just one of the many ways that we are doing our part. And we are moving forward with plans to support restaurants citywide through our Dining on the Spot campaign. With restaurants limited to 25% capacity due to the governor's order, Dining on the Spot will expand outdoor seating for these restaurants. Not only will this help customers to social distance, but also will help businesses serve even more people while adhering to the state's capacity guidelines. This is a win-win for everyone. More business equals more jobs for our residents and a greater chance of economic survival for people in our local economy. Now, with each and every day, we are finding new ways for our local economy to operate in the COVID-19 world. Yesterday, I had the pleasure of helping launch the 35th Annual Palm Beach International Boat Show. The boat show has a total statewide economic impact of $682.7 million. Last year, they brought 53,000 people into our city. Unfortunately, it had to be canceled this year, and for the first time in its history, the boat show is an online virtual event. But this is just a small example of the ingenuity of our community, our partners, the adaptability and the innovation required for all of us as we move forward in this new world. Let me give you a quick update on the work of the city's COVID response unit. Just a little refresher, the COVID response unit supplements the city's response and recovery efforts. Working in tandem with the City Commission and the private sector, the unit helps to identify community needs and expand city resources during this pandemic. The unit supports the work already being done by the city's emergency management team under the very capable leadership of Chief Bloomfield to support the health and public safety of our community. Now this week, the city's COVID-19 response unit held virtual town hall meetings to engage with our city and the residents of our city to answer their questions and to provide updates on the city's recovery and relief efforts. We've conducted 5 virtual town halls this week, each on a particular topic important to the community. These virtual town halls have reached thousands of residents. Now, video recordings of the town halls will be posted on the city's YouTube channel so that anyone can view them, and you can watch them on the city's Facebook page right now. Well, don't go now, still stay with me a little longer. I'll also include a link to these videos in Saturday's Insider newsletter. Now, there's one more virtual town hall on economic support and recovery hosted by Commission President Kelly Schoaf at 1 p.m. today. Details are on the city's COVID-19 website, which is located at www.wpb.org COVID-19. That's www.wpb.org/COVID-19. Or you can watch it live on the city's Facebook page. Now let me talk about Census 2020. And I know I keep speaking about that every time I'm before you, but I cannot overemphasize the importance of the census, particularly to our community. I want to appeal to all West Palm residents to please respond to this census. Just yesterday, 50% of West Palm Beach residents had responded to the census. And I think all of you have already responded. But that number is almost 7 percentage points behind that of the state average. We can and must do better with the census. Here's why. A census is conducted every 10 years. A census gathers data that tells the story of our community and who we are. That data is used for many things, including redistricting of state and federal legislative seats and the funding of millions of dollars in our community for programs such as school meals, infrastructure improvements, and public health programs. The 10 minutes that you spent 10 years ago completing the census are having an impact today because the census helped allocate the federal funding used for many of our social services programs and COVID-19 response and recovery programs. Please take 10 minutes now and help impact our city for the next 10 years. Now, you can respond to the census in 3 ways: by mail, online by visiting 2020census.gov, and even on the phone. Just call 844-330-2020. That number again is 844-330-2020. I want to remind everyone, especially the elderly or individuals with pre-existing conditions, to continue to take precautions that are necessary to stay healthy and safe. Senior citizens should avoid close contact with people outside their home. All individuals, when in public, should maximize physical distancing from others, avoid socializing in groups of more than 10 people, in circumstances that do not readily allow for physical distancing. And I would recommend wearing a face mask for all those face-to-face interactions and where one cannot social distance. Now, in closing, residents can learn about COVID safety, the 2020 census, and all of the COVID-19 recovery and relief programs that I just mentioned by calling City Hall at 561-822-1200. Again, that number is 561-822-1200, or you can visit the city's website at wpb.org. That's www.wpb.org. In closing, I want to thank again all of our first responders and also our city employees who are working each and every day to make our city work for the people. Their safety and yours remain my top priority. And like the palm trees that dot our landscape, we may mend, but we will never break. We will survive this the West Palm Beach way, and that is by working together. Now, with that, I would like to introduce City of West Palm Beach Emergency Manager Assistant Chief Brent Bloomfield, who also has an update. Chief Bloomfield.
Thank you, Mayor. Assistant Chief Brent Bloomfield, Emergency Manager for the city. First, I'd like to give an update on the testing. We are going to continue to work with our public-private partnerships with FoundCare and Quantum Foundation to do more testing throughout the city. We currently have a plan together with the healthcare district, and we're going to be starting implementing that on Monday of this upcoming week. We will continue to work with the county. We have a plan in place with County Fire Rescue to do some pop-up testing with their paramedics and our paramedics, and more information will be forthcoming in the upcoming weeks on that. I'd like to talk to you today about something a little different than COVID, although it does have the COVID ingrained in it. Hurricane season is less than just over 2 weeks away, and we're going to have to be thinking differently this year about how we do hurricane season. Sheltering, are getting our people out of the A, B, and C zones or flood zones. We're going to have to start looking at how we're going to do that and how we're going to do that safely and with the least amount of impact to our citizens. I want people to start to learn right now that you need to start planning. You need to start planning for the future coming up when it comes to hurricane season. You need to start looking out, thinking a little bit outside the box about what your plan is and where you're going to go for if we have an evacuation order. Our shelters, we're working with the county right now on the sheltering plan. We're looking at possibly opening up more shelters because we're going to have to give more distance inside the shelters. The county is looking at plans right now on exactly what shelters they're going to be, and we're working in conjunction with that. I will say that we still need to plan similar to how we always plan, with 72 hours of food, water, and medication on hand. If we have a bad storm, you may be on your own for up to 72 hours, so please plan for that. Also plan for your housing options. If you are told to evacuate and you can't go to a shelter or don't want to go to a shelter, please look at those housing options and where you're going to go. Also, if you're going to need a shelter, please pre-register on the county's website for that, so that you can have your plan in place for especially special needs and people with pets, because those shelters do fill up fast. I just want to say, I want to also reiterate what the mayor said about, we are doing a good job in the city. I took a ride down Clematis the other day, social distancing, everybody was social distancing, people were wearing masks, and we were very pleased with what we're doing here in the city. I just ask that we can continue to do that. We continue to social distance, we continue to wear masks. The beaches, we don't know when the beaches are going to open yet, but when the beaches open, and if you're going to come to the city afterwards or before going to the beach, please just keep following those guidelines. We want to protect our residents and visitors to the city. And with that, I'll turn it back over to the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, very much, and we will now answer any questions that you may have.
How many more, you said you're going to need to get more hurricane shelters. How many more do you think you're going to need? How many do we have presently, and how many more do you need?
The county's working on a plan for that. When we talk about sheltering, we usually give people a certain amount of distance, square footage in each shelter. we're going to have to expand that, and we're currently working with the county on that. They're working on the plan. We have one shelter in the city that we usually staff with paramedics and police officers. So we're still working with them on what we're going to do in the city if we're going to have to expand shelters. We're looking at different options right now in the city of where we're going to do that.
Would these be at schools or churches or what would you think?
More than likely, it'll be at schools. Those are the most easily accessible. But like I said, we're working in conjunction with the county right now, so we'll get that out to you when you get a
Is there
chance.
a shelter, one right now?
For the city, Forest Hill High School is the shelter that the county, that we staff with the county. The county has numerous shelters throughout the county, but in the city, we usually use Forest Hill High School as our first line, and then we look at other sheltering options if needed.
How many people can you accommodate at Forest Hill High School?
We're working on the numbers right now, because like I said, we're having to expand those numbers based on more square footage.
I have a question for the mayor. What is your reaction? You said that you felt 75 people with reemployment assistance. Does that mean you help them navigate this website for the state that has been so problematic?
Well, we've helped them fill out the application. Unfortunately, we can't dictate what happens once the state receives the application. We work with them on completing the paper application. Since we'd hear from a number of people, my phone rings daily, who are having problems with the online situation. So our alternative was that we could sit down and spend a few minutes with individuals, help them complete the paper application so they can mail that off. Hopefully that will expedite recovery.
Well, you said you provided rental assistance to 35 people.
Yes.
How many more can you handle?
Well, it depends on the monies that we have available. Our resources are limited. Now, I'm happy to say that it looks like the county will be mounting a campaign to help people with rental assistance. And so when our resources run dry, we've been encouraged to send people over to the county. They've received a lot of money, I think over $260 million from the federal government, and a portion of that will be allocated for rental assistance.
Are you going to extend this rental assistance plan? Because it looks like the economy is still not picking up.
We will continue to use whatever resources we have available. I know there is another bill called the HEROES Bill being debated in Congress, which will provide money directly to cities. And if that is successful, or a version thereof is successful, we would certainly appreciate having those monies which we could use. We're doing everything we can. As I said during my presentation, we didn't have this budgeted, so we're trying to move monies around to do whatever we can to get money on the street as quickly as possible. And I am optimistic that the county program will be helping a number of people as well.
How worried are you that we're reopening our society too fast?
Not worried if people will comply with the guidelines. I do have some concerns about contact tracing, which is a concern, which is an issue. Everything that I've read and everything that I've heard is that in addition to testing, you need to have contact tracing strategies. I haven't heard that coming out of the state or the county yet. I'm sure that I hope that they are working on those plans, but all of that needs to be in place. However, I recognize the significant hit that our economy has taken, and I appreciate the phased approach. And as long as people continue to abide by the guidelines, social distancing, wearing masks, et cetera, and as long as the businesses themselves will continue to enforce. This is a self-policing situation. Everyone needs to help in this crisis, because our actions as an individual will have an impact on those around us. And so I am supporting the phased approach to reopening, and I think it's a balance that we have to strike, but there's still work to be done.
Are you looking at laying off or furloughing any city employees?
We are not at that point yet. We will have a better sense of the city's finances after June 1st when we get the numbers from the property appraiser. The bulk of our budget comes from ad valorem taxes, and we'll see what those numbers look like. We are in the process of sitting down with each department now and having them do level budgets, not anticipating any budget increases over the next year, but we are optimistic, cautiously optimistic, that we can adopt a budget next year that does not involve furloughing or laying off employees.
You mentioned that you were giving loans to small businesses around it. First, are you going to continue doing that?
Well, we will continue to do that as long as the resources are available. And again, the county has, I think, about $60 million that they are also going to be lending. Actually, I think theirs may be grant programs to small businesses. And so to the extent that we cannot help these businesses, we'll certainly refer them over to the county where there's a bigger bucket of money available.
How would they apply for that, for the one specifically for you?
Oh, for us?
Yeah.
Oh, well, they just need to contact our website. I think we have an online application, or they could call 822-1200 to get directions. But we have an online application. The Urban League of Palm Beach County helps process those applications. It goes to Valley National Bank, and we'll see. But we've gotten money on the street already.
Can you talk, I missed this, but maybe you can just summarize quickly what the pop-up testing site is all about?
Chief Bloomfield, do you want to talk about pop-up testing?
So our pop-up testing, we have a couple different versions. One that we're going to do tomorrow with Found Care and the Quantum Foundation is going to be at Gaines Park, and what we do is we take appointments for city residents, and then what we do is we have a drive-up and we also have a walk-up. Last time that we did that, we got 246 residents through there. The pop-up testing that we're going to be doing with the healthcare district starting on Monday, we've recognized multiple areas throughout the city where people of lower socioeconomic backgrounds cannot make it out to the testing at the ballpark or to any other testing sites. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring testing to them. The healthcare district's going to bring their bus in. We're going to supply them with all the logistical needs. Paramedics and then their nurses are going to do all the testing at those sites that we've recognized throughout the city. The one that we're going to be doing with Palm Beach County Fire Rescue is very similar to the healthcare district. They have a bus available. We drop the bus into some of those areas that we've recognized throughout the city, and then what we're going to do is they come to us and we do the test right there with our paramedics.
You're going to do something Saturday at Gaines Park, and then Monday you're going to do pop-up testing at a bunch of different neighborhoods?
Correct. So Monday we'll start in certain neighborhoods. And we're working also with the housing authority through the city to recognize some of their areas that they need testing. That you have a lot of people that are like in the south end of the city that are older, that don't have transportation. So we're going to start working on them first, and then we're going to work our way through the city.
So you're concerned that the problem may be bigger than we realize?
No, I didn't say that.
Well, why would you do the additional pop-up testing?
Because we've looked at a vulnerable population. We see a vulnerable population out there, and we want to make sure that they get the testing that they deserve.